Hi, I'm Ryan Bridge, and I'm excited to host a new podcast called Bridge Talks Business with Milford, where I'll be talking about, well, business, obviously. Every week, I'll be joined by one of Milford's team of analysts, fund managers, and financial experts to cover key business events. It'll be your go-to for insights on the markets, business, and the economy, both here and overseas, as we dig a little deeper into the business week. Join me for Bridge Talks Business with Milford. Subscribe on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. All discussions are informational only and should not be considered financial advice.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
The 37th America's Cup match is almost upon us. Emirates Team New Zealand have their challenger.
Britannia are on course to make the match, and they will attempt to achieve what no other British challenger has done and win the Auld Mug. After his 173 years of hurt, the wait might soon be over.
Come on, boys.
INEOS Britannia rules the waves of the Mediterranean with a 7-4 victory. They win the Louis Vuitton Cup and will meet Emirates Team New Zealand.
Indeed they will. INEOS Britannia have earned the right to challenge Emirates Team New Zealand in a best of 13 race series off the coast of Barcelona for the America's Cup. They become the first British boat to contest the Cup's decider in 60 years. The last time, 1964. The first two races early tomorrow morning New Zealand time, a scheduled start time of 1 a.m. New Zealand time for race one. Then two more races Monday morning before a break, racing resuming on Thursday. And then on until we have one of these two boats with 7 race wins. They will win the America's Cup. Hugely experienced and successful sailor and now Emirates Team New Zealand coach Ray Davies is with us out of Barcelona. Ray, can we start with your challenger? INEOS Britannia it is. Did you expect them to come through and be your challenger?
Oh, look, to be honest, no. Earlier on in the regatta, they were struggling a bit. But as the regatta went on, they just came into their own. And as we saw in that final, they were sailing really, really well and pretty much blew Prada away. So, look, it's great to have Britain back in the America's Cup. We know all of their players on their team, and we just know how, passionate they are around the America's Cup and the sport, and being in the final. It's going to be absolutely huge. It's going to be a proper battle.
What did you learn about your boat, Taihoto, during racing in the preliminary regatta and in the round-robin stages of the Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, look, we learned that we were fast, but we have to bear in mind that we raced against the teams in the early stages, and we saw them improve, and we've since sped our boat up with some more components on board and tweaks to the foils and sails, etc., etc. So we've got quicker, they've got quicker. We don't really know until we actually come off that start line who's going to have the advantage, and it could be different in different conditions.
How have you managed, Ray, to replicate match racing conditions since you stopped participating in the Louis Vuitton about a month or so ago?
Yeah, look, we can simulate races. We do that ashore, and we make it really challenging for the boat on the water to make sure when they're doing their pre-start routines, they're under as much pressure. We give them a difficult drill to do, so the manoeuvres are challenging and hard. What we've seen with these boats is as teams have got better with their boat handling, that directly translates to them being better at starting the boats and being able to outmaneuver the opposition. And, we certainly saw that in the end of the Louis Vuitton, where I think Prada felt pretty vulnerable in some of the tighter manoeuvres with the way their foils were designed. So they ended up on the back foot quite often, and INEOS were quite aggressive and always looking for an opportunity. So, we've seen that. We were in that camp already. We feel like we're a very manoeuvrable boat, and the crews spent thousands of hours literally, just understanding the physics when we do manoeuvre these boats in tight situations. There's a real fine line, and if you fall off the foils, obviously it's a massive loss. If you bent the rudder, massive loss, and you're on the back foot. So that's the challenge with these boats, high risk, high reward.
How do you balance that, Ray? How do you balance calculated risk-taking with the smallest possible margin for error?
Yeah, look, it's a great question. It's really hard because if you go conservative, like, we felt Prada did a little bit in the final there, you're kind of on the back foot. And then you've really, you can't afford to be on the back foot. You've got to be able to know that you can match them in any situation. And the whole key is to not make the first mistake. You've got to put the pressure on. Both teams will be doing that to each other to try and force the first mistake. And then that's that initial advantage, which can translate to being pretty significant. But the trap of being too conservative, clearly there is a fine line. But if you're too conservative, too complacent, we're just going to get walked all over. So, we can't do that either. So it's going to be fascinating to see what sort of aggression both teams bring to the table.
Absolutely. You've talked a bit about the start there and the pre-start. Are you able to articulate, Ray, just how important that part of the race is?
Well, the race isn't won and lost in the start. You can be seriously compromised if you do come off the foils and have a massive deficit. And we spent all of these years trying to get a couple more seconds of performance through the entire racetrack. We'd spend a lot of money if we could buy 5 seconds of performance around the track. But, that can all be taken away by one mistake in the pre-start and the wrong side of the other boat and missing that first shift. So it's actually incredibly important. It's probably, 70 or 80% of the race in some conditions when the breeze is not changing very much and it's pretty steady, then you just got to have that initial advantage and then just put your elbows out and sail clean from there.
How do you win if you lose the start?
Well, you have to keep it close. You have to not take risk. You just have to keep the pressure on. You're relying on the other team to make a mistake. But if you can keep the pressure on them, there's obviously a much higher chance you're going to make a mistake. You've got to be within striking distance. So when that one mistake happens, you pounce and you're in the lead. You've got to keep it close enough that, you're probably only going to get the chance of one mistake. So you've got to be, obviously stay in the game and just keep putting the pressure on the other boat. It's never over to the end. And these boats, it's really relentless how important boat handling is.
The nature of the structure of the event, of course, is that INEOS Britannia, I guess you'd say, are match race hardened. They've been racing all of this time. They've been making improvements as they race. How do you take that away, or how do you replicate that or combat that, given the fact that you haven't been doing that?
Yeah, look, we have our ways of being able to, race the boat on the water and simulate races. So that's, we do put ourselves under pressure, and obviously we analyse what they've been doing. We study, the times that they do their manoeuvres, and we can replicate those races in the simulator. And, there's always a move and a counter move. And, I'd like to think, we've learned a lot since our last races. And we've definitely, every team is improving all the time. And, you just have to just do your homework. It's all you can do at this stage. There's no point trying to train against any other team. You're not allowed, and everyone's moved on. So you're never going to be as good as you're never going to have as good a training partner as the guys that are just finishing the regatta. So, we virtually make it as hard as we can in the simulator. And that, to be honest, I go on about the simulator. It's an absolutely incredible tool. We can just do multiple starts in a 2-hour simulator session and come away with some really good solid learnings and a shared consciousness between the crew.
Outstanding. So, Ray, where are you when racing is going on?
Yeah, when racing's going on, I'm on the chase boat. I just keep an eye on the weather and focus pretty hard on making sure what sails we have up, and Josh and Sam are right alongside me, working really hard with the guys on pre-start strategies, what side of the course we like. We got Roger Badham, our weatherman ashore, giving us input into what's going to happen in the future. We obviously know what's happened with the weather, And it's all about just trying to predict what's going to happen next with the breeze over the next half hour. And obviously the designers now have all switched into performance mode and analysing all of our manoeuvres, all of the opposition's manoeuvres, where can we make incremental gains from here on. And, the debriefs at the end of the day are incredibly thorough. The detail that we can dive into now has gone to a whole nother level, and, we really utilise the design team as part of the coaching staff as well now.
And you won the America's Cup with Team New Zealand in 2017 and again in 2021. What is most helpful, Ray, from those regattas in 2024, if anything?
Oh, look, it's just having the belief to know that we can do it, that the team can perform under pressure. We actually really enjoy the pressure. The sailors come into their own, and a lot of top sports people do. They actually think clearer and perform better under pressure. And I'd like to think we have a team that operates really well under pressure. So that's, we know we can do that. We've done it before. We're a much stronger team than we've ever been before. So we get a lot of strength from that.
Right, it's been great to chat to you. Very, very instructional and interesting. I get the feeling you're just waiting for it all to get underway. So all the best as you prepare to defend the America's Cup against INEOS Britannia. Thanks so much for taking the time for a chat.
Mate, we can't wait. And it's so good to see all the Kiwi supporters coming up here now. The planes are full of them. Fantastic.
Good to hear, Ray. Good to hear. Thanks indeed. Ray Davies there from Emirates Team New Zealand. He's his official title is coach of Emirates Team New Zealand. A good insight there into what he does in terms of making that boat go as fast as possible.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.